Arsenal's need for a new centre-forward has been well publicised. So in a window where they've tried their hardest to sign Fiorentina's Dusan Vlahovic, are they now set to move on to Real Sociedad's Alexander Isak? Also, why was Mikel Arteta spotted with the Arsenal Ornstein Kroenke? And will the Gunners make a late move for Lyon's Bruno Guimaraes? Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Vlahović, welcome back to your boys channel, and a few massive days ahead for Arsenal in this transfer window. What are they going to do? Edu Gaspar, Mikel Arteta, Richard Garlic, the clock is ticking. But as per my friends, make sure to go down there and smash a like on the video if you enjoy, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But let's get into the Arsenal transfer news, and starting off with centre forwards. With Aubameyang not involved in the Arsenal team, Lacazette missing one-on-one chances, Arsenal need to sign a striker, and I think that's been clear for a very long time. But in terms of how desperate Arsenal actually are to get this over the line, well, the Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta was spotted alongside the Arsenal owner Stan Kroenke in attendance to watch Kroenke's Colorado Avalanche beat Chicago Blackhawks 2-0 in the NHL in Denver. So after Lacazette's disaster class against Burnley, Mikel Arteta got on a plane straight to the US of A and said, "Listen Stan, we need to have a meeting." And this was even confirmed by the reliable Matt Law, who confirmed that Arteta had flown to Denver to discuss Arsenal's striker situation with the owner Stan Kroenke. The fact that Arteta has had to go all the way to the USA to have a face-to-face meeting, things are starting to get serious. And the reason why is kind of simple, because Arsenal have had a clear number one striker target, £65 million, 70 million euros. The striker we're talking is Dusan Vlahovic. And yesterday you even had the Fiorentina director confirm that we have received important bids for Vlahovic in January. We are open to sell, but we never received any answers from his agent. Juventus, our doors are open. We wait for Dusan to decide. We need an answer. So all the reports that claimed that Arsenal had made an offer to Fiorentina was kind of confirmed with the director of the club itself. But in terms of that final pot, Juventus, that has been Arsenal's main competitor in this transfer saga, as reports on Italy had claimed that Vlahovic wants to go to Juventus in the first place. So when you have the Fiorentina director confirm the doors are open to Juventus as well, despite them being rivals on the field, let's just say Juve have seen that, they've seen the doors open, they've walked inside and said, "Give us your player." And then you had Mr. Here We Go Fabrizio Romano confirm agreement in place between Juventus and Fiorentina for Dusan Vlahovic, with the details and term of payment to be sorted out. Final stages of the contract now discussed between Vlahovic, his agent and Juventus board. Work in progress. So just like that, my Arsenal fans, you have it there and there in the flesh from Fabrizio Romano. Dusan Vlahovic is going to leave Fiorentina. The price tag is going to be 60 to 75 million euros. But he's not coming to the Emirates, he's going to stay in the Serie A and he's going to Juventus. And as Fabrizio Romano also confirms, it was because of Juventus' interest in the first place is why Arsenal tried in every way to complete the deal in January. I can understand why a lot of Arsenal fans are going to be frustrated, because Vlahovic is such hot property and so many fans wanted to see him at the Emirates in the first place. But in terms of Arsenal financially, they've done as much as they possibly can, and Fiorentina have kind of confirmed the offer was accepted. Arsenal put the money down on the table and it was all down to the player and its agent, but unfortunately, as Sky and City confirmed, Vlahovic didn't even consider proposals from Arsenal and Tottenham. So while I understand the frustration, at the same time, there's only so much that Arsenal can do. They offered the player a tremendous contract. They essentially agreed a deal with Fiorentina. But in terms of the player, he's always wanted to stay in the Serie A. He's always wanted to go to Juventus. And now the player is going to get his desired move. But with him going to a Serie A rival, according to reports in Italy, Vlahovic's house in Florence has been put under observation of the Italy General Investigations and Special Operations Division, with dynamic surveillance shifts. Yo, these Fiorentina fans aren't happy, and these guys are actively voicing their concerns. But most importantly, in terms of Arsenal Football Club, how do these guys react? It is going to be a blow, but in terms of myself, I'm actually not as disappointed as I might have been. And that's because I said this at the start of the window, and I'll say it again. I've always said I don't want to see Arsenal sign players, regardless of how good they are, if they need to be convinced to sign for Arsenal Football Club. But do let me know your own thoughts on Arsenal missing out on Dusan Vlahovic and him now going to Juventus. But in terms of Arsenal now, how are they going to react? Well, according to the very reliable David Ornstein, Arsenal are actively exploring alternatives such as Alexander Isak. And even according to Chris Wheatley, Arsenal are plotting a move for Real Sociedad's striker Alexander Isak, with the club having inserted a release clause of 90 million euros in Isak's contract, although Arsenal are expected to negotiate that fee down. All eyes turn to Swedish international Alexander Isak, one of Arsenal's main alternatives, according to David Ornstein and Chris Wheatley, both very reliable sources. Arsenal are now making moves and opening negotiations behind the scenes to sign Alexander Isak. But just like with Dusan Vlahovic here, the price tag here is going to be very hefty. And according to The Athletic, the release clause of Isak's contract is understood to be substantially higher than what Arsenal paid for Thomas Partey. Arsenal would seek to negotiate a more reasonable fee, something Real Sociedad may be unwilling to consider right now. So unless Arsenal want to pay the 90 million euro release clause, Arsenal are going to have to negotiate. But in terms of those negotiations, why would the selling club want to negotiate in the first place? After all, Isak is such an important player. He's a starter week in, week out, and we're only also halfway through the season. To lose a player of Isak's importance, I don't think Real Sociedad will be willing to negotiate in the first place. And so with that being the case, if Arsenal want to sign this player, they're going to have to pay the release clause of 90 million euros. But then saying that, we do have a very interesting report back from 2019, which during the transfer saga of Nacho Monreal claimed that Arsenal and Sociedad would arrange a deal where the Spanish club would pay no fee for Monreal, but Arsenal in exchange would have a preferential option over a number of players of their choice. So the fact that Arsenal have done Sociedad a favour in the past during negotiations, maybe, just maybe, it helps our Arsenal in the specific transfer saga. But what's your own thoughts on Alexander Isak, and for a price tag of 90 million euros, do you guys think he's worth it? But talking about alternatives, according to The Athletic, the prospect of joining Arsenal would appeal to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The club are a good fit for his ambitions. Calvert-Lewin is much admired by the coaching staff at Arsenal, who have proved influential in previous recruitment decisions. Now you guys know from time, in terms of the player that is Calvert-Lewin, I've always been a massive fan. The fact that he's 24 years of age and the fact that Everton are in disarray, even though it could be very expensive, I think Arsenal can make this transfer happen. But once again, with this not being very cheap, do you guys think that Calvert-Lewin is the perfect sign for Arsenal in that centre forward position? And if not, is it Alexander Isak or maybe even someone else? And could that be a certain Luka Jovic? Well, according to Fabrizio Romano, Jovic has been offered to Arsenal on a loan deal. I think Luka Jovic is a decent player, but for Arsenal and the ambitions of the club, I just don't think he's the perfect choice for us to progress onto that next level. But talking about Fabrizio Romano, he also says that Barcelona are open to the departure of Memphis Depay, but it will not be easy. He was offered to Juventus in early January, but Massimiliano Allegri wanted a real striker. Now with the transfer, we often see a domino effect, and potentially we could once again see this. Because with Vlahovic now going to Juventus, it opens up the possibility of Morata now going to Barcelona. That in turn will also make a certain Memphis Depay also available. And so with that being the case, let me know your own thoughts on Memphis Depay, and is he potentially a striker that you guys would like to see Arsenal sign? But the fact that Mikel Arteta is flying over to the USA to have meetings with Stan Kroenke, things are now starting to heat up for Arsenal, and Strikers FC is really starting to get interesting. What happens next? I guess we'll find out in tomorrow's episode. Okay, let's move on to central midfield. Once again, we have so many names to discuss, but I'm going to start off with Juventus' Arthur Melo. Even though Arsenal want to sign a player and the player wants to join, Juventus have made it very clear Arsenal have to offer an 18-month deal with an option to buy. But then saying that today, according to Fabrizio Romano, Aston Villa have submitted an offer for Juventus for Rodrigo Bentancur. Juve are not going to sell both Arthur and Bentancur, it's one of them. Soon they'll make a decision. If Villa were to indeed sign Rodrigo Bentancur, that eliminates any possibility of Arsenal signing Arthur Melo. And if that was to be the case, maybe Arsenal move on to a more long-term target, maybe a certain Bruno Guimaraes. Well, on that, according to Fabrizio Romano, Guimaraes is a player that Arsenal love and is at the top of Arsenal's list of midfield targets, but Lyon are requesting 40 to 45 million euros, which makes a deal in January very complicated. So Guimaraes is on the top of Arsenal's wish list according to Fabrizio Romano, but he also mentions the price tag of 40 to 45 million euros. And now this is where things get very interesting for Arsenal, because according to Fabrizio Romano, Newcastle have submitted a formal bid for Bruno Guimaraes. 40 million euros on the table, proposal made last night. Olympique Lyonnais answer still pending, and so far no answer yet on the player's side, with reports from RMC claiming that Newcastle have offered Guimaraes 4 times his Lyon salary. Enter 18th place relegation fighting but Saudi rich Newcastle United. These guys have put the money on the table. They've offered 4 times Guimaraes' wages. Even though Arsenal might hold interest, if Newcastle are offering this serious amount of money on the table, right now that makes them favourites. Which then also kind of poses the question of how much do Arsenal actually want to sign Guimaraes? Because yes, Arsenal might like the player, but if they were really serious, the price tag of 40 million euros is 35 million pounds, and for the player that Guimaraes is, I think that is very reasonable. The fact that Arsenal are also spending up to 70 million pounds on a striker, make no mistake, these guys do have money to spend. So if they have that money to spend and they really wanted to sign Guimaraes, then why have they not already done that? And so with that kept in mind, according to the Gunner blog of the Reliable Athletic, his understanding is that there's other long-term midfield targets that Arsenal prefer over Bruno Guimaraes. The question is whether the short-term needs and availability will trump that. It is going to be an interesting few days. is. Maybe, just maybe, Arsenal do have other players they want to sign over Guimaraes and they have other priorities instead. But who on earth are these players? Well, according to The Athletic, Arsenal have long-term midfield targets. Ruben Neves is one of them, and he was considered as a possible replacement for Granit Xhaka last summer, and his performances for Wolves so far this year have done little to dissuade the club of their interest. Wolverhampton Wanderers Portuguese maestro in midfield Ruben Neves as apparently a long-term Arsenal target, and of course we also can't forget a certain Youri Tielemans. It seems like in the midfield, Arsenal are looking to stay within the Premier League, but then saying that the fact that Arsenal still require midfield as of right now, I don't think that Neves or Tielemans are going to be available, at least not on a cheap transfer. So when you then have a Bruno Guimaraes available for just £35 million, it poses a massive question towards Arsenal and the entire transfer strategy. Out of the three names of Bruno Guimaraes, Ruben Neves and Youri Tielemans, out of all three of those players, which do you right now watching this video want to see Arsenal go for? According to Simon Collins of the Evening Standard, Arsenal are working hard to bring players in, but at present New England Revolution goalkeeper Matt Turner is the furthest along with any possible deal. So in a window where Arsenal need to sign a brand new striker and potentially a brand new midfielder, with 5 and 6 days left of the window, right now it is a backup goalkeeper that Arsenal are closest to signing. With that clock ticking, I'm trying my hardest not to panic, but right now Arsenal is squeaky bum time. And so now the pressure all falls onto the likes of Edu Gaspar, Richard Garlick and even potentially Mikel Arteta. Are Arsenal going to sign new players? My friends, we're gonna have to wait and see. Okay, let's move on to the other Arsenal news today. And starting off with Arsenal's French centre-back out on loan, I'm sure you know who he is. I'm talking the Mbappe of centre-backs, William Saliba. As he put in a masterclass in his last game for Marseille, 90 minutes played, 88 touches, 71 passes with a 93.4% pass accuracy, 3 ground balls won with a 100% success rate, 2 clearances, 5 interceptions, 2 tackles and 1 clean sheet. A monster performance. Another fantastic performance, and in terms of Saliba, we all know about his quality, but for me what is the most impressive is his overall consistency. At such a young age, every single time this guy plays, he always puts in a 7 or 8 out of 10 performance. The fact that he's doing it so young for me is such an impressive sight. Onto a bit of confirmed news, Sheffield Wednesday have today completed the loan signing of Arsenal youngster Tyrese John-Jules. Arsenal of course called back Tyrese from Blackpool and now sent him straight back out on loan to Sheffield Wednesday. And after all, he is a very highly rated young Arsenal striker, so best of luck Mr. Tyrese John-Jules. It's that time of the day when Thomas Partey and Xhaka have started today this season. We've played 7 games, won 5, scored 20 goals and only conceded 6. When these guys play, we score goals for fun, we concede goals less, and ultimately and most importantly we control games far better. With them back for Arsenal's next game, I think it goes without saying, if these guys can remain fit, they will give Arsenal a massive boost toward the top 4. And finally, according to Simon Collins, Technical Director Edu Gaspar and Director of Football Operations Richard Garlick are planning to stay in the UK to work on possible transfer deals. If new players do sign, Arsenal will try to get them out to Dubai to join the squad. The Arsenal first team is going to Dubai, but in terms of Edu Gaspar and Richard Garlick, these guys are hard at work trying to get transfers of the line. But in terms of us Arsenal fans, we are now starting to get very impatient and starting to panic. I don't want to see panic buys, but at the same time we need to see transfers and we need reinforcements. What on earth happens next, my friends? As always, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But that is the video there and there. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to smash a like on the video and also do subscribe to this channel if you are new. If you would like to follow your boy on them social medias, then the links will be down below in the description. But that was the latest episode of the Transfers FC. Today we finally have closure on the Dusan Vlahovic saga, not to be for Arsenal, but now it is on to the next. Anyways guys, I'll see you next time. A bit.